This is me. I'm from here, the good old United States. Okay, to be a little more accurate, I'm from Ohio, located here. To be more precise, I'm from Marion, Ohio, and I grew up in a little suburban neighborhood called Grandview Estates. Oh, and if anyone is interested, the capital is Columbus, and our borders are Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, Illinois, Michigan, and Lake Erie. Marion, Ohio is nothing but fields of corn, wheat, and beans, and a few tiny towns hiding in between. The people of those towns are kind, friendly people who would be willing to help you out if you needed it. Just remember not to bring up politics. These are the same kind of people who might punch you in the face just for not being a Democrat or a Republican. Growing up in Grandview, we heard lots of different stories about the place. One actually involves U.S. history. Back during World War II, there was a prisoner of war camp located in the same area as Grandview. After the war ended, the prisoners were returned to their home countries and the camp was closed. But legend says that before they closed the camp down completely, the government came in and buried entire train cars into the ground and covered them up. What was in them? No one knows for certain. To this day, no one is allowed digging to a certain depth in those areas. Back as a kid, we used to play in the woods back in Grandview, though we weren't supposed to because a farmer didn't want us to be on his land. So a few of us would bike to the backwoods and hide our bikes in a little ditch. We almost got caught a few times, but we always hid and stayed very quiet until the farmer went away. In the woods, we would play games and pretend that we were trying to survive in the wilderness. We even built a little fort out of tree limbs, old plastic tarps, and whatever else we could find lying about. At one point, we made plans to spend the night in our little woods, but we decided against it, for we feared the terrors of the woods. We heard rumors that there was a graveyard left abandoned somewhere in the very woods we played in, that the spirits of those people haunting the woods at night would come out and get anybody who was in the woods. Another paranoia that we had was that someone or something was watching us when we explored the woods. I still try not to think about what was or still is in those woods. On one adventure me and my friends went on, we discovered a flooded ditch. Upon close examination, we discovered that there were hundreds of tiny aquatic snails in the ditch. In our minds, we saw these little guys as helpless creatures that would die as soon as the water dried away. So we quickly put a plan in action where we would bike as many of these guys from the ditch to my house, where we had a small aquarium set up for the snails. We rushed back and forth a couple dozen times until we felt that we had rescued enough of the snails. However, we discovered how quickly snails filth up water and begin to smell. In the end, we just dumped them into whatever tiny amount of water remained in the ditch. I have many great stories and adventures from my childhood in Grandview Estates, which is why it is a very important place to me. Even though I'm not in Marion anymore, Marion is still a part of me.